that for those three, the cloud-based quantum optimization modules, right? The pay per task to compute the contract for the AI model training efficiency, as well as the energy cost reduction, right? The higher margin for AI cloud services. So you won't see quantum computers on balance sheets per se. You'll see cloud providers posting 30% energy savings under like an algo optimization scenario.
Okay.
That's where quantum revenue is hidden inside of it in AI's P&L.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of using the cloud. In fact, I'm one of the only customers of Quantum on the cloud right now, and I think I'm AWS's biggest Quantum customer. But in any event, the question I have, I guess, is so I access this computer through the cloud, and I guess you're claiming
You're
that.
Microsoft. You're Microsoft. You have a computer, and you're accessing it through the cloud, right?
Sure, yeah, yeah.
So let's use that Microsoft example you were using. So you're building the software layer that links the quantum logic to the classical cloud infrastructure. That's what you're doing being Microsoft. But think of it like this. If NVIDIA builds the GPU, right, and IONQ builds the quantum chip,
Yeah.
then Microsoft builds the bridge that lets both run inside of Azure,
Yeah.
right? So that bridge is the Azure Quantum Platform. So which already integrates like Q, Qiskit, and CIRQ, the leading quantum program frameworks, right?
Yeah.
So Microsoft is essentially in your scenario turning energy and compute into a coherent language layer, right? Where electrons and qubits and data streams all speak under one operating system.
Okay, so I'm still trying to figure out what the customer, whether it's Microsoft or their end user, cloud user, what are they going to use with the chip? Why does the chip help them?
Why does the what?
How does the chip help them?
I just explained it to you. It helps them by optimizing their AI runtime and energy compute.
Well, I guess I run AI programs. I program AI. As I mentioned, my wife's at OpenAI, and we're struggling trying to figure out exactly how quantum could help. Because is there an algorithm or is there a tool that specifically would be useful?
There's licensable algorithms that are deployed today. That was the point that I was trying to make right before the NVIDIA example. Those already exist today.
Which names? Which algorithm? Shor's algorithm, Grover's.
So
is there a name for this algorithm?
1 second, let me check my notes. I forgot the name.
Please do. Because OpenAI, I know about 100 people that work at OpenAI, and they're really desperate for something that could make it go faster. And when I talk to them, they say there's nothing out there.
Okay, but I think everyone's missing the point about what they say that we wish we can make it faster. They don't wish that they can make it faster.
Or more efficient or whatever, anything. Give me anything.
Faster is the wrong word. In my opinion, the correct term should be more efficient.
Okay, whatever it is, what...
So you know what AI data centers really well because you talk to all the CEOs. So their number one thing that they probably complain to you about is, oh my God, the amount of fucking power that all this shit takes is incredible.
Not really. No.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're telling me if OpenAI can increase their efficiency, their energy efficiency by 30%, that that's not going to hit their bottom line?
The chip cost is the majority cost for these data centers. So, for example, if you talk to Lambda, which is the second biggest GPU cloud, you can find the CEO on X. He follows me, and we follow each other and post to each other. He's an investor in my company, so we have a pretty good relationship. And he is, about 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs, and he's told me that in this business, energy is a single-digit percentage cost. It's really chips in the data center that are the bulk of the costs for a data center like that.
Yes, the initial cost, but what about the ongoing?
No, I'm talking about the ongoing cost. Amortizing, depreciating the chip is the majority of the cost. Servicing, so forth. Energy is not a bottleneck yet.
Okay, so Microsoft's customers for quantum aren't consumers. you and I. They're industrial. They're
Yeah,
government.
yeah, of
They're
course.
AI,
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
right? So customers like, let's take for example in the energy grid, like Shell, Siemens, Duke.
Great. How are they going to use quantum?
Okay, so these companies already use Azure for data and grid management. Okay, I know that for a fact because
We
they used
use
to sell
cloud.
ERP systems to all.
Everybody
I used to
uses.
sell ERP. I used to sell ERP systems to all of these utility companies.
Everybody
So I know
uses
exactly.
cloud. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so they predict low demand with fewer errors. They optimize the grid balance dynamically. They simulate fusion and battery chemistry
You're talking about
faster.
with quantum?
Yes.
Okay. So
Shell uses Microsoft's quantum simulator to optimize carbon capture logistics. So it reduces the OPEX, pays Microsoft more. So the customer isn't buying the equipment; they're buying the stability of it. Right? And both of them.
How does that happen? With respect to.
How does it?
Yeah. I'm curious what algorithm they're using because that sounds like a really amazing advance.
So maybe touch base with Microsoft and ask them how energy customers today are currently using the quantum layer within Azure.
Well, are they using a chip or are they using what are they using exactly? Are they using Rigetti's chip?
No, who, Microsoft or
The client. The client, yeah, the energy company.
No, okay, so again, IONQ, right, per se builds a chip. Microsoft bridges that, right? So it runs it inside Azure.
Yeah.
So Azure becomes the quantum platform.
Yeah.
So the customer will log into the quantum side of the Azure platform and do this.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
I do that every day, but when I go onto the Azure or AWS quantum platforms or IBM's or anyone else's, the chips are really small. They're not really useful. So I'm trying to figure out how to use them so that they can compute anything. Because right now, I posted the other day that on AWS's computer, I wasn't even able to add 2-3-digit numbers. So optimizing energy grids sounds like a pretty tough thing to do for, versus like adding 2 numbers.
Okay.
Is there an algorithm you're aware of that would be useful for users of quantum computers? The only one I'm really aware of is Shor's algorithm, which takes factoring from exponential running time to polynomial running time, which is a huge leap. But factoring 2 numbers is kind of not really a big business use case for anybody. So quantum is looking for kind of other options or opportunities. The IonQ co-founder Chris Monroe recently said that he doesn't know what the application is. Nobody does, certainly not factoring. So they're hoping, and this is what Sundar at Google says as well, which is they're hoping to find an algorithm that's useful. This is a great search. What algorithm will be useful so that a quantum computer can compete with a regular computer? Because right now it's not a competition at all. The quantum computers are so anemic. But one day, maybe there'll be an algorithm that actually lets them compete with an NVIDIA or Intel or AMD chip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I'm trying to frame this in my mind. Again, how do I say this? The consumer, right, of the quantum aspect is not going to be us. The end customer is not going to be the consumer. It's going to be the industrial and all those other companies. They're going to use it for revenue to maximize revenue. Microsoft, Amazon, Google, all of these companies currently are moving towards this, and they're testing and using this, today. The actual algorithms and what they use and how they do it in their backend systems. I mean, I'm not privileged to that answer, right? All I can tell you is what's out there today.
I guess it's so it's not really a secret. Quantum computers can do like a normal computer. They have an instruction set, like an Intel has an instruction set where there's an ISA, instruction set architecture. There's something called RISC, x86, etc. And you look at the instructions that the computer can do. For example, move is an instruction where you can have the chip move the contents of one memory address to another memory address. And that's useful because you might want to use what's in that memory address to add or subtract or do something like that. Quantum chips are the same. They have an instruction set, but they have cool new instructions like they have CNOT, which doesn't exist in a normal computer because it's a quantum computer. It could do more things. It could do more interesting things. So the CNOT and other gates of the quantum computer are really exotic and neat. And so, right now the 80, anywhere from like 60 qubits to 130 qubits or what's possible right now, but programs can't fit in that tiny amount of space, right? They have to get up to thousands and thousands of qubits or millions maybe. And that's coming down the road. Hopefully some company can do that. IonQ said they'd have 100 qubits this year, but they pushed that out to next year. So they're at like 60 qubits now. So the fact they couldn't do 100 qubits kind of is weird, but eventually I'm sure this will scale and we'll have 1 million qubits. IBM also pushed out their 1,000 qubit target from this year to next year. So we'll get the big qubit machines at some point, but right now you can't really do much with 60 qubits. I mean, you couldn't write even your name on a 60 qubit machine. But when we get these big qubit machines, I'm still wondering what algorithm can we run? And if you read, all of the physics journals, people publish their quantum computing discoveries routinely. And the hope is that one day we can have something other than Shor's algorithm. Right now, Shor's is the main quantum algorithm. In fact, quantum computing was born because of Shor's. Peter Shor, revolutionized computing when he said that on a quantum computer you could factor numbers easily. That blew everyone's mind, including mine. And he was an instant hero of mine. And people at IBM, like David DiVincenzo and others, said, let's build this machine. Let's build a quantum computer. It's a fictional device up until now, and we're going to start making it. And that was 40 years ago. And 40 years later, we haven't made too much progress, but the hope is that eventually we can realize Peter Shor's dream and factor two really big numbers into two smaller numbers, like 35 divided by the factors of 35, or 7 and 5, obviously. But that, except many, many, many more digits, really hard problem for computers to do. It's exponential running time. And if we can do that in a really short period of time, it'll be such a huge scientific achievement. It's not really a business achievement, but it's a huge scientific achievement that my jaw would drop doing it, because programming computers my whole life, that's a really, really hard problem to make go fast. And so anyway, what I'm trying to figure out is 20 or 30 years from now, when we have these really nice quantum computers, they're error corrected, they're high fidelity, there's zillions of qubits, all the qubits you can ever throw a stick at. You have this super quantum computer. What do I need this to compute? What am I going to get out of this that I can't get out of an NVIDIA machine? And that's kind of the major question, which is, how do I use the quantum world to go to a new speed that I couldn't do before? Because the speed on quantum computers is actually quite slow. They're about 100 to 1 million hertz. Hertz is, cycles per second. And on your desktop, you have a 3 gigahertz computer. That's 3 billion hertz. So a quantum computer is pretty darn slow. But the one place it can beat a classical computer is if the algorithmic running time goes from exponential to polynomial. Because you can imagine 2 to the 200 steps, that's more atoms then that's more than the amount of atoms in the universe. But instead going to say 3n squared or 3n cubed, that's actually a very small number, and a computer can do that quickly. So even with the best computer in the world, it would still take trillions of years or universe level amount of years to do it on NVIDIA, but you could do it really fast on quantum. That's amazing for factoring. But as far as I know, there is no algorithm for anything else that gets you that speed up other than factoring. And unless, you're in the business of dividing numbers, which is not really, I'm not sure anybody is in that business, where's the algorithm that'll let you do something exponential to polynomial for quantum, other than factoring? And I think that's where the industry is stuck. And what the bulls that I know say, like Satya and Sundar, they say, we'll figure it out some other time. Somewhere down the road, we'll get into a quantum algorithm like Shor's. That'll be amazing for other things that we do use computers for.
Okay, so you asked the question, and the question was what algorithms exist today?
Yeah, sure.
So there's an algorithm called the quantum approximate optimization algorithm. It's called the QAOA.
Sure.
Okay. Currently, it solves complex optimizations problems, so like route planning, scheduling, resource allocation, and so forth. Okay, the way it's used today is, like, for example, Microsoft and Honeywell and IonQ used inside Azure Quantum for logistics and optimization. JP Morgan and Chase uses QAOA to improve the portfolio optimizations of their clients. Energy grids use it today to minimize transmission loss as well as to balance dynamic loads. So the QAOA is the quantum brain for resource efficiency. It decides how the megawatts move through the grid. So if Tesla Energy, for example, or ticker SOC wants to optimize microgrid routing, right, the QAOA algorithm already works today via the quantum-inspired solvers like, stuff and so on. So the other one, the VQE, the VQE simulates molecular as well as material systems, right, to define or to find the lowest energy configuration.
Maybe we just do one at a time on QAOA. Is that algorithm proven to be faster on a quantum computer than a classical?
Listen, can you just ask that question again? Because what I think you asked me, I don't think you meant to ask me.
No, I did. QAOA is an algorithm. Is there a speed up that you get from QAOA on a quantum computer than a classical?
Okay, with a quantum computer, you can run trillions of computations in a minute. With a regular computer, you cannot.
Whoa. So I'm trying to figure this out. You're saying that QAOA on today's quantum computers is faster than classical?
No. Okay. What I'm saying to you is that we discussed the evolution of quantum computers and when they will actually come about, and I told you, well, I think it's plus. Right? So we're talking about that piece, right?
Okay. Down the road, QAOA will be faster on quantum than classical.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't it be?
Well, there is this question about the complexity class of QAOA, and why would it be faster?
Update 1 Google says dozens of organizations affected by Oracle Link.
Is there a proof that QAOA has faster running time on quantum than classical? There's two parts of an algorithm. You have the complexity. There's two parts of dwell time, which is you have the running time of the algorithm, and then you have the clock speed of the computer. So we know the clock speed of the computer of quantum is garbage, which is okay.
Buzz US
it doesn't matter if you can get the complexity speed up. It doesn't even matter what the clock speed is, because it'll just be infinitely faster. Is there a proof or some kind of like document that says QAOA? If you go on Google Scholar, let me take a look. Just go to Google Scholar, QAOA. There are 10,000 results on QAOA. So a lot of people have published papers in QAOA. But as far as I know, there's no paper that shows QAOA is faster on quantum than on classical. in fact, I mean, the only example where it's faster in quantum than classical really is Shor's. Even Grover's, which is, quadratic, has its own issues, which we can get into, but Shor's is the only place where you get that miracle. And again, dividing numbers is just not the best business in the world right now. Maybe it will be someday, but it's hard for me to see the bull case, because if the computer can't do anything, who wants the computer? That's just the perspective.
Just out of curiosity, why are you assuming that the computer can't do anything?
Well, like I said, I mean, I got my beautiful, amazing wife here, who was, like I said, one of the first people over at OpenAI, and we talk about this a lot. In fact, she taught with maybe the world's leading quantum expert named Scott Aronson, who I've been text messaging with as well. Scott wrote a key book called Quantum Computing Since Democritus, and he also thinks that these computers have very limited, abilities. For Shor's, they're a miracle, and nerds like me, I won't call my wife a nerd, and Scott and others, we love the fact that you can go from exponential to polynomial, because it's never been done before. It's a miracle in computing. But when I turn to the business case, I say, well, I don't need to factor big numbers, and I don't think that there's any other algorithms that give you that big speed up. And we know that quantum computers have their limits. They're very slow. They have decoherence issues. They have to be frozen or in low pressure chamber or whatever. So they're not going to beat an NVIDIA that's blazing fast. So you either need to get a complexity class shift or beat it on clock speed. Obviously, it'll be generation before they can beat Moore's law and clock speed. But on the algorithmic side, you do have this potential to use superposition or some other quantum effect to basically tunnel around nature and do this miracle calculation. Again, the Shor's thing is nothing short of a miracle, but I can't find a way to use it business-wise, and I can't find any other way to use quantum business-wise. And I'm not asking you a trick question. I mean, everyone agrees with this. I think that people...
No, it's not a trick question at all. I can probably frame it a different way. So,
Growing at 16.2% CARAI trust risk and
the short answer,
market rate USD 7.4 billion by 2032.
will these algorithms be faster, or the one we're speaking of be faster on actual quantum computers? Yes, but not linearly, right? So quantum computers don't make algorithms just faster. They make the hard problems solvable that classical machines can only approximate, right? Speed isn't measured in clock cycles. It's measured in complexity class reduction.
That's what I've been saying, yeah.
Right? So classical computers, right, they solve optimizations via brute force, right? So Monte Carlo, simulated annually, those kind of things. So QAOA uses superposition to evaluate many configurations simultaneously. So theoretical 100x, 1000x speed up for combination optimization for logistics and routing and grid control, D-Wave and IONQ already show quantum-inspired speedups on small data sets. That's real, not hype. Actual quantum hardware will outperform CPUs and GPUs, okay, by orders of magnitude once the coherence stabilizes, right? So it's not that QAOA runs faster, it redefines what's computable.
I've also asked ChatGPT this question, but I think the reality is that there has to be complexity proof that shows you that complexity class shift, and that's what's missing.
Yes, but okay, how do I say this? The way I look at it is everybody wants to hear that quantum looks faster or is faster or runs faster, GPU on steroids. But that's, in my opinion, wrong. Quantum computing is not a bigger engine. It's a different geometry, right? Classical computing is the linear line, right? Quantum is the probability space. shortcuts through how we can optimize things faster per se. So
Well, you just said it's not speed, but it's how we do things faster. That's the same thing. We use computers to go faster. I mean, that's what they're used for. Everything's about going faster, right? And if you can do something in polynomial time instead of exponential time, you're really happy. But there's only one algorithm that can do that. QAOA has not been proven to be faster.
There's more. I just haven't talked about them.
Okay, please read on.
So, I'm sorry, what did you just say?
What?
I'm sorry, what did you just say?
I said, please go on.
All right. So, are you familiar with QA?
I'm sorry, with QA, quality assurance?
Yeah. So, which one?
Quality assurance?
No, quantum annealing.
Oh, yes, I know a lot about quantum annealing.
Okay. So, as you know, the purpose of this, right, is for optimal solution by simulating how energy relaxes in a system.
Yes.
Okay. So all these energy companies use ERP solutions. This is how this all fits in. It's literally the Petro AI logic. So D-Wave Systems, for example, commercializes first, and it's used in manufacturing and logistics and financial modeling today.
Today?
Yes.
So what's D-Wave's revenue?
That number offhand, sorry.
But is D-Wave selling billions of dollars?
No, not even fucking close.
So why, if it works, then why aren't they selling it? That sounds like a huge win. But last quarter they sold $3 million. That's less than some laundromats I know.
Right, but to make things fair and more stable, your argument makes no sense. Look at it. You just said it yourself. Look at how the quantum computing sector in its entirety has been running since April. So the point is not what we're talking about. The point is the point is not what we're bearing about. The point is what I'm talking about regarding the intricacies of the current scenario and what's available today and how that can go ahead and evolve with capital.
I get D-Wave says that their product
Volkswagen uses quantum annealing for traffic flow optimization.
But why isn't Volkswagen paying D-Wave?
Why is Volkswagen? What?
If they're using D-Wave, as you say, to do something. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Finish your thought.
If Volkswagen is using D-Wave, right? Volkswagen is a $200 billion company, and D-Wave is important to their business. Why aren't they paying them?
Again, the fundamentals aspect of it is not what my thesis and my side of the discussion is based upon. So I can go ahead and bear out with you if you'd like, right? Because I told you from the fundamental side, I'm on your side. But that's not the trade here, right? The trade is not buying QBTS at $34. The trade is buying QBTS at $7, riding the first phase of the quantum wave. Then when it hangs, you rinse and repeat.
There's been a big hype wave because I think people fundamentally don't understand what this technology even is. It just sounds cool.
Right, and the idea here is to make money. So however cool an idea is, if the sector and the capital flows into it, that's where we're going to go.
It's been a hot sector, but I think eventually you have to put up some kind of revenue or earnings. Like Beyond Meat was a really hot thing, and people who caught the Beyond Meat massive rally made a lot of money. But unfortunately, a lot of people bought the top of Beyond Meat thinking it was going to be something real, and then it just didn't. Nobody used their product, and now they're almost bankrupt. So I'm trying to figure out if is quantum like software, like SaaS, where the same thing happened with Salesforce, but it kept going up. And it kept going up, and there were real companies with real revenue and real earnings that you could buy and hold forever. Or is quantum going to look more like Beyond Meat because there's no actual product and there's no real long-term potential? It's all just fake nonsense. That's my opinion, as you know. And it's just about to collapse. And to me, I'd rather some traders make tons of money. There's so many ways, as you know, to make money trading. You can do statistical arbitrage. You can do technical analysis. You can do fundamental research. You can do private equity. You can do whatever. But I think that the bigger question is like, you know, for me, is this, are we playing a shell game of musical chairs when the music stops and, you know, there's going to be somebody left, you know, without a chair? Or are we playing a positive sum game where, like, when software went through the SaaS model, Adobe 10x, Salesforce 50x, et cetera, and like, I'd rather play that game and just be long some successful companies for sure than, like, to me, trying to play musical chairs and like, oh, I made a quick double. I got to get out of this musical chair before the house burns down. And like, that's a fine game. But if the house is going to eventually burn down, I don't know if I want to be long. I'd rather be short almost.
So I think that the discussion that we've had here today is the end result is exactly what you said. The end result is there's a difference in how we're trading it, right? You trade from your own methods and your own different ways. You would rather, like you just said, go into companies that A, B, and C, and X, Y, and Z, right? So,
well, I short frauds and hype. I mean, that's what I'm good at. I find fraud and hype and I short it and it goes to zero. I do it over and over again. And that's what I'm great at. And I think this is fraud and hype. Now, some people buy the fraud and hype because it's going to get bigger. And those people make money too. And that's fine. I respect those people. If their track record is good and they've made money consistently, that's great. But I think a lot of people think this sector is real.
Again, it's the idea here, or the general tone is not it's not whether the sector is real. It's not whether, you know, is there revenue? You know, it's bullshit. It's all like, you know, look at the fucking, like, it has nothing to do with that. It's where the capital flows and seeing where that capital flows before the moves happen.
Of course, but I got a big.
Your position is, well, this is, you know, X, Y, and Z, and A, B, and C. I'm going to short it.
Well, I got a big stack. I got a big stack of capital, and
right.
when the capital will flow out of quantum, the quantum
fundamentals, right? Rightly so. However,
as,
again,
well, let me just
my
finish.
position is I'm guessing the new capital cycle.
Right,
And
and
the
I'm
capital
saying
cycle is Petro AI.
what I'm saying.
So my trade is, I'm telling you that it is not to do with the finance. This is why capital is moving in and it's still running. After everyone that was bearing out on this past weekend, IONQ, RGTI, QUBT, all of them should have been down 15, 20, 30% on Monday, but they weren't. There's a reason for that. And I think my logic makes more sense on why that reason is versus there's no fundamentals and, eventually it's going to fall.
I get that.
And that. Yeah, well, eventually all stocks fall, right?
Well,
eventually.
yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that, to me, what I think the new capital cycle is that in 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, whatever, just like Beyond Meat and just like many other 3D printing and all that stuff that had a big run, even EVTOLs like Joby, people are going to say, where's the revenue? Why does D-Wave have 3 million in revenue? And they say, you know what? I'm going to sell this because they're obviously not making progress. They can bullshit all they want, but unless the revenue grows up, I'm not going to wait 20 years. I'll come back to this in a few years. And the capital flow is going to be an outflow. As people get out of stocks that have got huge amount of hype but no results, that's what I think the capital flow will be. It's going to be hard for people to believe in a company if they say, oh, we're going to be bigger than NVIDIA in a few years, and then, next quarter they don't have any revenue. That's not a stock I'd want to be long. To me, that's a stock I'd like to be short, and obviously I'm short all these stocks.
So you just made a terrific point, okay? So you like to be short because of A, B, and C from what you just listed there, right? You go into particular tickers because, once they check off the list that you have, your internal list that you have in your head, then you go in. And you use your capital.
I just want to see if the product works. Does the product do anything? Does it work? And my research says no. So if the product can't work, how does the company survive?
Right. So you're a fundamental trader. You're a long bear. You're saying that I don't give a fuck if QBTS goes to $50. The point is, it's going back to 10. That's the point.
It's going back to 1.
Right?
It's going back to 0.
It doesn't matter, but that's what you're saying, correct?
Yeah, it'll go back to 0, yes.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying, okay? What I'm saying is from day one, from when this started, I have called this new capital cycle to a T. And this capital cycle had nothing to do with fundamentals and $0
See,
revenue.
that's where I disagree.
OKLO was not getting a
I dis-
fucking reactor until 2030.
I disagree on that.
Let me finish, please. What you like to do is what you're good at is telling people, okay, why this stock is no good and giving the reasoning behind the bear thesis.
Yes.
That's where you excel and that's where you're good at.
Correct.
What I like to do and what I'm real good at is I like to frame the entire capital cycle and where all the money is going to go to. Now, there's going to be some pickers on where that money is going to go to that's going to make absolutely no fucking sense, like IONQ, QBTS, and all these other tickets. But at the end of the day, that's where the capital cycle goes. And I like to be first in the trade, period, end of story. And this is why I frame it the way I do.
Sure.
If the company has $1 revenue or $1 billion
Well, let me
revenue,
just jump in.
To be honest with you, bruv, I can give two shits.
Okay.
That's not the trade.
Well, let me
right?
jump in.
I'm not going long, and I'm going to stay long until 2050.
Well, let me
because
respond. Let me respond. So I've been a trader.
That's the two sides of the both coins here.
I mean, listen, I've done.
I'm conceptualizing this as a stock trader. You're talking about it from an engineering standpoint.
Yeah, so
it's completely two different things.
Yeah, no, I understand that, and I've done both. I've worked at hedge funds like Kramer Berkowitz and Intrepid, and had my own fund. And I think that it's important to predict where money's going to go. I think that what I think is happening is that money is chasing risk assets in general. So Oklo has the same chart as Quantum, and there's no interest in fundamentals whatsoever. And I think that's evidenced by when I talk to people about fundamentals of the stocks they own, they don't know what the fundamentals are. They just are excited that they have capital and they see a stock going up and they want it to go up more and they want to buy it, and they are getting some great returns. And then inevitably what happens in every cycle, just like the dot-com cycle, just like 2007, they have to figure out what they own and why. And some people are nimble traders. Sounds like you were a very nimble trader, and that's great for you. But many people own these quantum stocks and they think that they are the future. They think that they are going to be long-term winners, that they're actually going to have revenue someday. And if you told these investors, I think 99% of them, if you said, listen, there's never going to be a quantum, $1 billion in revenue. There's never going to be something that, is really big out of this space. It's going to look like Beyond Meat. It's going to look like 3D printing. There may be one winner of any, if any. And I think they would sell all their quantum stocks. And if they knew that for sure, now if they're speculating, they're praying, and they don't know what the difference between running times of algorithms are from running times of the New York Marathon. And I think that, they are doing the same thing, which is playing hot potato. Let me buy the stock. It's been rallying. It's still rallying. I'm going to keep buying it until it stops. And great traders can get in and out and make a fortune. But many people are buying these stocks and thinking that, well, they're just going to be the future. I missed NVIDIA maybe, or AMD's been good to me, so let me find the next AMD. Oh, what's this guy? This is like a different kind of computer. Oh, cool, I'm going to buy it. And they don't realize that these aren't really what they sound like. And they are making the mistake of, most of these people are not traders. They read a Motley Fool website or something like that. And, you probably would sell these stocks if you were long them, if they broke down and they had like a big retracement. You might say, you know what, I'm going to lock in my profit, I'm out, and I'm going to wait and see what happens from the sidelines. And maybe if they break out again, I might buy them again. So, I respect traders who do that, but I think the people that don't know how to do that, or don't have the risk management, they don't have the discipline of selling the loser, right? The hardest thing to do in trading, right? When you buy a stock and it's down 10%, the average Joe doesn't want to sell it. They want to hold it and pray it comes back. You would probably sell it and say, I'll take my loss. Loss is part of trading. It's fine. And you'll have plenty of winners that overcome the occasional loss. I'm right 60% of the time, not 90% of the time. And, I make a living trading, and it's fine. But ultimately, a lot of people in the space are in it because I see their tweets. They think that this is going to be the future of computing. They believe the CEO of IonQ, that they believe D-Wave. And, all you have to do is look at D-Wave's income statement. They don't sell this product to anybody. Nobody wants this. And, I feel bad for the people that have bought those dreams. And I think that gaming, when people buy those dreams, is the job of a trader. Your job is to figure out what sector will get hot and when will the masses get attracted to this random sector that they don't know anything about and jump in, just like they did with biotech in the 90s and dot-coms in the 90s. They jump in, they don't know what it is, and they pray they're catching some runaway freight train. And so they think they maybe got it and they're really excited, but in general, the average Joe doesn't understand the deep research and the deep fundamentals. They're just hoping to get lucky. And I feel like, it's pretty clear to me that this sector is going nowhere fast. And if they realize that and the capital comes out, again, a good trader will see that happening and will get out. But the poor average Joe is probably going to ride it to zero. And that's kind of what I'm hoping to avoid for some people, if that makes sense.
Right. So basically, based on our trading styles, your target market is different than mine. Okay, your target market is exactly what you just described. My target market are option traders that are.
Well, I don't have a target market. I just trade for myself, and I'm short the stocks. I'm hoping the stocks go down.
When I say target market, I mean your want to help people. Your want to help people.
Anybody who's long.
Average Joe not having it go to zero.
I would say anybody who's long.
My want to help people is guessing where that capital structure is going to go and making short-term gains on options on it, not holding RGTI for 20 years in our portfolios, all the way to like wherever it's going to go. It doesn't matter if it's going to go to, $60. It will go back down eventually, right? Now, if you picked it up for $1, well, then maybe I would think twice. But my point being is we're talking about two different things. So this conversation essentially is going to be continuously ongoing.
No, I mean, I like to look at charts and money flow too, but I also think that fundamentals do matter, and that if
they do matter, absolutely, to a point.
However,
we're in a new capital cycle,
okay,
and that's the Petro AI capital cycle. In this capital cycle, fundamentals only matter 0.1% of what they used to. Now it's all about geopolitics, macro, and where that capital money is flowing to. This is why option flow has never been more important than in years. And not only that, gamma and things like that to watch and where these specific capital cycles are moving to. That's the play. The play is what's the next RGTI scenario? What's the next quantum sector that's going to be starting to move? I know what that is. Now, whether those tickers that we're going to play on that are adjacent to that thesis is has $0 of revenue or $50 billion, like it doesn't fucking matter. Why? Because that's where the market and the capital is flowing to, and that's what's going to make the trade.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people out there that don't trade like that, and they buy stocks that they think are promising. And right now, some of these companies are worth 15 billion or 20 billion, and that's a lot of money. You can buy 10 skyscrapers in New York for 15 billion, and I'd rather have 10 skyscrapers than own Rigetti, which struggling to sell a product. They don't have any revenue. They probably will never have any revenue. And I think a lot of people care if they're buying a stock that has no future, even if the capital's flowing and all this stuff. If they're inevitably the long term, companies require revenue, they require earnings. There's not too many companies that make it to the S&P 500 with no revenue. And ultimately, what we've seen from 2000 is timing the top of the hype, getting that max euphoria where people are running into these quantum stocks without knowing what they're looking at. And, just no matter what it is, they want to be long. That's the top euphoria. And it's a great time to start shorting because, capital cycles shift fast. Right now we have a very bubblicious environment where lots of trash stocks are trading for huge prices, and that could collapse on itself at any moment. Paul Tudor Jones recently said this reminds him of kind of the very end of the bubble from 2000, and I agree. I mean, it feels like people are taking crazy pills and chucking at whatever they can at their Robinhood accounts and trying to get a quick gain, and it typically ends really poorly. And I would say that the capital cycle is exhausted, and that we're going to see big drops in these stocks. And again, I could be wrong. Trading is hard, as you know. It's not easy, and I've lost millions of dollars in these stocks and shorting them, and they may continue to go up. But one thing I do know is that they're inevitably going to go to zero, because there's no realness, there's no reality, there's no.
I mean, zero is all a little far fetched to say that all of them are going to go to zero. Even you know that.
No, I think they will. I mean, just like all.
All of them.
Yeah.
You don't think you don't
QB
going to zero include a big boy going in there and just using their muscle just to buy them just for the intellectual property and dissolving the company? Does that include going to zero?
Yeah, I talked to all those guys. QBTS and QUBT are just completely fraudulent. Like those guys are going to jail. IonQ, I think their CEOs also go to jail. Rigetti the CEO's told you that it's a science experiment. He literally says, we don't have any revenue, we never will. Don't buy our stock, and people are still buying it. So we're just in a crazy.
Yeah, he literally said, "Don't buy our stock." A CEO of a publicly traded company
he is strongly.
I highly fucking doubt that, bro.
He strongly implied that he has no clue why the stock is up like that, and that there's no revenue in this space. And anybody saying there's revenue in the space is crazy. That he has said exactly, but the implication is this guy was at $1 a share, about to go bankrupt. And he's looking at his stock, it's now $45, and nothing has changed. Not a single thing has changed. And he's scratching his head. That's my interpretation. And, he sounds, like when he does these interviews, he's not like the other three CEOs, because I don't think he wants to go to jail. IonQ is saying he's the next NVIDIA. That's a pretty dangerous game to play as a publicly traded CEO. The Rigetti guy is really honest. He's like, look, I'm glad we see all this enthusiasm. I'm happy our stock is up 45x for no reason, but don't expect any revenue from us in the near term. He said that exactly. So I think that, the 4 publicly traded quantum stocks are all going to zero. I don't think there's any value in any of these companies. IonQ has tried hard to pivot by using their stock to buy other companies.
You're basing your value upon something that goes against the entire grain of every CEO's blood, and that is not evangelizing about your own company. As the CEO of a publicly traded company, let alone the CEO of any fucking company, your number one prerogative is to sell the shit out of that company.
I don't think so. I think you get.
Yes, it is.
I've been a publicly traded CEO.
You need to be the best sales guy of the company.
Okay,
no CEO
of the two of us, what?
Anywhere, especially from a publicly traded company.
Of the two of us,
not buy my stock.
Of the two of us, one of us has been a publicly traded CEO, and I think that investors want honesty and integrity. They don't want hype. They want a straight shooter who tells the truth when they do well and when they're doing poorly. A guy who's just blowing smoke up their ass all the time, that's not a CEO people like. I mean, from my institutional experience, I don't like it if a CEO is lying to me. In fact, I usually...
Absolutely. You want a CEO that can deliver. Well, okay. And what he's doing is delivering on the timelines of what the general consensus is. What I've already told you is...
Well, IonQ, I just mentioned...
He never said, don't buy my stock.
He actually...
That right there is literally him killing his job if he ever said that. And if you used to be a CEO of a publicly traded company, for you not to know that is incroyable.
No, it's not. It's you have to be realistic with the market. If you tell lies,
I'm gonna throw you a little ball. Okay, I'm gonna give you the next IONQ RGTI and the next QUBT capital cycle. How's that sound? And this is gonna be a freebie to you.
You're gonna give me a stock pick?
You don't have to play. I'm going to tell you where all that money is going to be going.
Just give me a stock pick. Give me one stock.
You don't have to. I'll give you the entire industry. You don't have to play. I'll give you the entire map. How's that?
Well, just give me one stock. That's all I.
Road the entire way and watch it all live as it happens.
Give me one.
How's that sound?
Give me one stock you like. Yeah.
One stock I like. Come on, man.
Come on. Obviously,
Do you want the bone or not?
Yeah. Give me your long, and I'll tell you whether or not.
This entire conversation has been theses regarding two different trading styles. Our trading styles do not coincide, and therefore we will never agree about any of the companies that we will ever come across in, and that's a fact. And
Yeah,
nothing's wrong with that,
yeah.
right? To have
I think-
discussions and like this, and to continuously be able to have discussions.
I mean,
like
I think
this is great.
it's okay to trade
all
in a
I'm trying to
way.
do is show you, right, my ability and how I trade.
Yeah, no, give me your
Now,
wrong,
I'm
man.
throwing you an entire cycle. You want an RGTI I1Q cycle run like how we have
I want to hear your.
or do you,
I
or
don't.
not?
I don't
It's simple as
buy.
that.
I don't
But I'm
buy.
not going to give you one ticker. I'm going to give you a cycle. Would you
Okay.
like that? Yes or no?
Okay, no. So what I'm going to explain to you is when I make investments, I love to hear suggestions, but I do my own research and decide whether or not I make the investment. So if you want to give me,
I'm asking you to invest. What I'm asking you to do is listen to the cycle and watch. That's all.
you can pitch me a long idea. I'm fine with that. I just, that's all it is, right? Everybody has an opinion. At the end of the day, you can distill it down to 4 letters that you like, and that's it. Right? I like a stock called ABVX. That's all. Okay? I think it's going to go up a lot.
Which one?
The Y doesn't matter.
Which one?
ABVX. I've been long the stock. I think it's going to go to 200. And that's really it. It's a drug company. I'm pretty well known in the drug industry. That's my specialty. And I think ABVX will go to 200 and IonQ is going to go to 5 or 10. And that's, I have longs and I have shorts just like anybody else. So those are my picks. You can give me your picks.
So, I mean, it wasn't really you mean pick, not picks.
I can give you as many as you want, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to wax about how great.
Yeah, but you're giving me tickers that you think that will do well. That's not what I'm saying I'm going to do.
Yeah, I don't need all the. I don't need all the bullshit.
Where cycle is going to move and how it's going to do it and where and like the whole intricacies of it.
I don't need all the bullshit because
I'm not the difference here.
quite frankly, I don't think you understand what you're talking about. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to judge you on your results, and your results will speak for themselves.
If you want to judge me on my results, then do this. Watch the next capital cycle and how I position it and how it happens, or like I told you at the very beginning of this conversation, go to Grok and simply ask it regarding my Petro AI thesis.
I think
and
I've
how
gotten
it's worked
enough.
out.
I think I have enough of your Petro AI thesis. We talked about it for an hour. But yeah, what's your next big bet? Open Door?
Open Door, no.
I'm kidding.
Powering Intelligence, I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, you don't have a stock?
Oh, I have stocks.
Okay.
Tickers that compute energy, like CORZ.
Okay, you like the NeoCloud? CoreWeave?
I do.
Guys like that?
Intelligence power routing. That's going to be very key.
It's a real big question. I've debated myself whether or not I want to short CoreWeave or long CoreWeave or what. So you like Nebius too, I'm guessing, NBIS?
I like MU, AVGO, Tesla.
Okay, but in terms of this thesis,
This next part of this thesis
the big winner is the cloud?
is going to be whoever can compute the energy feedback. So tickers like AVGO, MU, Tesla, Meta, Palantir, the other ones I mentioned.
Yeah, those are all big stocks though, Meta and Vago and Palantir and stuff. Is there something a little sexier that could 10x?
Just why don't you run an analysis on power intelligence, and then you'll be able to come up with a ticker.
I mean, I mentioned I know a lot of this.
You gave me 1. I gave you 7. What's
Yeah,
the
but
problem?
Meta is not, Meta's a $2 trillion company. I mean, do you really think Meta's gonna go crazy? How much money can I make on Meta?
You'll hit 1,000. How about that?
Yeah, I've been bullish on Meta for a long time. I like the company a
$300
lot.
a share is not bad.
But I guess the Yeah, up 50% would be nice, but I think most people want to hear something like a double or more. But I'll take, I guess, CoreWeave as your best one.
Uh, sure. CRWB will be quite instrumental in the next couple of years, in my opinion. And I think that share price will at least double.
Have you heard of the short thesis on this one?
Yes, I have.
It's it'll be interesting. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. I see both sides, but if I had to, somebody put a gun to my head, I'd probably short it. So we have a wager on the markets on CoreWeave.
Take a look at the ticker ZPTA.
I know this one. They're bankrupt.
So if they're bankrupt, short them.
Well, no, it doesn't even trade. I mean, this company went bankrupt a long time ago. It's not, the company doesn't operate. Nobody works there. It's a dormant company.
There you go. I just gave you one that you won.
I don't understand. Yeah, I know the people at Zapata. I considered buying the company out, but it's a dormant company. Nobody works there.
That's my point.
You like that stock?
No.
Okay.
I said look at it.
I've looked at it. I signed a CDA with the company and considered acquiring the whole company.
So is there any other questions that you may have on Petro AI or the thesis?
No, I mean, we'll check back in a year and see if CoreWeave went up or down. Make a friendly bet, that it would be down, and it sounds like you're making the bet that it'll be up, and we'll see how the next 6 to 12 months. We'll just check in periodically, and it was a nice conversation. I appreciate it.
Gone great. Thanks for attending. I appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
That's the other side of the trade. I liked it when you started reading off of ChatGPT. Yeah, that was something. It's, bull markets, make anybody sound smart. Or seem smart, or think they're smart. Obviously, that guy didn't sound smart. I like the fact that he was willing to read off ChatGPT to me. You remember the time where he was like, he said the thing that AI always says, that's not hype, that's real. That was awesome. ChatGPT read off to me like I'm a little kid. The quantum annealing definition was great, yeah. Zapata is a quantum computing software company that went bankrupt. During the craziness, I considered buying them out. They're just drilling like crazy across the street. It's fucking annoying as hell. Unicure 64, wow. Check, 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 check. Should not be an echo. Should just be me. Oh, you have a lot
U.S.
of
Research
shame.
Roundup, ExxonMobil, IQVIA Holdings, Oracle.
Thanks. A little dry reading. Any infinite set includes a subset of cardinal numbers, Aleph null. know your cardinality, Zorn's lemma, the axiom of choice. This is the basics of mathematics, logic. Either two types of people, axiom of choice and everybody else. There shouldn't be an echo on my side. If there's an echo on your side, just disconnect. Capital flow, cycles. I mean, I don't disagree with some of that stuff. He just doesn't say it. He doesn't say it effectively, but. Yeah, liquid trees. Just very overwhelmed with interest that reminds me of the sun. Presentation to somebody. Yeah, I mean, the whole point of fundamentals don't matter. I mean, it's not totally wrong. They eventually matter. But, you know, he basically gave up on the. What was most important to me is that he kind of gave up the. The evaluations was funny. My favorite, if somebody says evaluations instead of valuation, I die. That's the ultimate test. But yeah, the funniest thing to me is he was willing to fight on quantum fundamentals, and then he was just like, man, I'm buying it because it's going up. Stock go up, I buy. That's it. No, I don't need the leveraged ETFs. I just picked a random stock out of a hat. QVT's been really weak.
top news alert, premium demand, higher fares fuel Delta's optimistic earnings outlook.
How long, Sarepta? Yeah, keeping your cool is just, you understand a lot of people don't understand what you know. I mean, when I talk to some people, there's plenty of people I talk to where I don't understand what they know. It happens all the time. We can't be experts in everything. Gotta be humble. Learn what you can. Gotta love to learn. I'd say 20% QW. That's good, Wang. Depends on how much you risk. Capper is just never had successful trial, and the mechanism is really bad. No, Ben, I don't think so. Just a bubble. Godel users total 54 million for the 363 who have connected. Very cool. Just pulled this from Grafana. Connect your brokerage now. So average Godel users, let's see, what is that? 54 divided by 363, 150K, but it's more than that because the average, some people put connected brokerages that didn't have any money in them at all, which will not get you any benefits. Hey man. Yeah, sure. What do you guys get? Yeah, Chick-fil-A is fine. Pizza's fine. Okay. Later. I'm on stream right now. Use BROK to connect your broker. Maybe, William. Hard to say. Yes, Aspen. I can see all the positions. To de-anonymize, I have to go to another table, which I obviously don't want to do, but yes. Yeah, I'd say it's both, Leonard. The mechanism not working is very, very dangerous. If the mechanism doesn't make sense, then the data has to be really good. And the data was not really good, it was really bad. And so that basically seals its fate. Max, you seem really interested in doing something that nobody else is interested in. It sounds like you're really excited about it, but you have to get somebody else excited about it. I don't want to have anything to do with it because I don't know you and yeah, I haven't looked at anybody's positions. I don't have the time for all that. But we are going to make a component that shows everybody's collective AUM, which is cool.
I got the cutest baby picture. You guys want to see? Put it on chain. Look at this guy. He's the little derp. Blah. Ah, yeah. Look at those cheeks. I'm getting a teardrop tattoo right here. Okay. This a pill. And then on this cheek, maybe a bottle, little baby bottle. Beautiful, right? That's easy money stacks. Yeah, then the tattoo here. EZ. Oh, you know, I seen guys do it on their eyebrow. EZ money stacks. Maybe like a dollar sign over here, like some racks. 100. What do you guys think? Pretty cool, right? Oh Lord. Child Protective Services. Sending this to wifey, she's gonna lose it. Gotta have the Albanian eagle. Needs a nose piercing. Should I tweet this? He's been on stream. Mom's been on Discord. So I give you guys a pretty big view into my life. IVVD. Wow. Damn. Baby named Torque. Market stumping. Baby named Torque. You heard? Let the Bears win one. The Bears. Hey, Mike Ditka, who's gonna win the Super Bowl this year? The Bears. Oh, he's so cute. Such a cute kid. Ask Jeeves, bro. They should bring back Ask Jeeves with AI. Ask my homie Jeeves over here. Jeeves. Hey, Jeeves. You got this fucking guy still smoking weed in the office. Bro, what are you doing, bro? How you gonna smoke weed in the office? I would do CS degree in school if I had to do it again. Why no weed? It's an office, not a fucking nightclub. This isn't the weed spot, okay? What's wrong with you people? You need to focus, work hard, not smoke, chill. Oh, you got that cherry gals you guys got? Got that cherry? Yeah, entry level dev jobs are not easy, but you know, if you're good, you're good. Yeah, you're right, Hussein. What about that cherry guys though? Yo, damn, you got cherry? Damn. I have no beef with Koreans. It's just their stock picks are a little suspect. Name Dirt Dog. Twerk does not have a nanny. Twerk's got a mommy. Torque. Yeah, torque has a meaning. Mom is absolutely loving having a baby. We call him Chucky. We used to watch Rugrats as kids, so I guess it's a character on Rugrats. Torque. Who is that? Sith of Finality. What is that? I don't know you. I don't fucking know you, ho. Yeah, don't do CS for its own sake. Absolutely. You better like programming to begin with. You'll be miserable if you don't. You eat stocks. Something sus as hell. In your DMs. In my DMs? Bitch! Who in my DMs? Ain't no girl in my DMs, bro. Let me check this shit right now. The hell? Thank you. Quantum this, quantum that. Why don't you quantum some bitches? I know that a lot of people are going to thank me in the next 2 years. They're going to be like, man, Martin, you talked me out of quantum. I thought, first I was mad at you, and then I realized I actually don't know quantum physics or complexity or any computer science for that matter. And I probably shouldn't have put my life savings in it. Thank you, Martin. There's going to be other people who are like, fucking Sprelly, he crashed it. Why did you crash the market for me? No, this guy was stock wits, not stock twits. He's doing a little playful copyright infringement. No biggie. Same name, twice as stupid. I've made almost no trades today, really. When I have my position set up and the way I like, I just... Pretty quickly, Jason. I see a big pop, they typically will do it, but they usually want to meet management. Scott wants 50 racks for the call, dude. Meanwhile, he goes on every podcast for free. That's disrespect. What's my chicken sandwich? mean, everything is computer. Trump said it himself. Computer science, electrical engineering, something like that. I don't know. Hardware's never a terrible thing. Make money in hardware. How to invest with 1.7K. Well, here's what you do. I press the hide user on this channel button. You're done. Get out of here. It's over for you. Get the fuck out of here. You're lost. I'm coming to Park Avenue, buddy. You think you're in Chinatown. You come to Park Avenue, you ask, this ain't for you, buddy. Rockets on my screen. Right here. Haters gonna hate. I made 5 million playing Baccarat, Lower East Side. Against a Chinese man named Han. He paid me the 5 million and he was laughing the whole way. I must have been rich as hell. Big rolls. How do you know my prison name, man? Big rolls. Oh. There were guys in prison, they had their normal names, but then some of them had a whole skit to go with the name. It's one thing to have an alternative persona. First thing was, okay, I got a different name. I knew a guy named Mike. He's like, call me Mills. And he's like, actually, Mills gets me into a lot of trouble. I should probably stick to being Mike. And I'm like, Mills sounds like a bad dude. Just be Mike. Mike's not a bad guy. Mike sounds great. When you turn into Mills, pretend. Plain pretend. You don't want to actually die in gunfire, do you? Some days. When IQ's going up. Yeah, I'll go out and shoot out. Fuck it, let's go. Mike, they call me Mike Mills. Turn $60 to $100. Hot hand in the dice game. Only thing I miss from jail is having no obligations where I could just sit and read, but I'd rather have the obligations. Let me throw the dice game down. Let's go. Put the cardboard down. Let's play. Let's shoot some dice. Voodoo is not good, my friend. Not good. Most people are playing AI by being long NVIDIA, being long OpenAI, being long, not Facebook really, but Microsoft, Palantir, AMD, CoreWeave. I'm the biggest quantum hater. All of North America. Hate, 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 hate. I hate your company. I hate your company. I hope you go bankrupt. Hate, 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 hate. And I watch World Star Hip Hop all day. Damn. Oh, damn. Claps gotta loud. What? Hold up. Claps gotta sound louder than graduation celebrations. What? Caribbean woman showing out. Damn. The cartel just declared open season on Americans, threatening to eliminate every U.S. citizen in their territory overseas shipments. Had his body cam off too. Man comes home at 1 a.m. and catches his baby mama cheating with a police officer. Hey!
Well, my name's...
See what this look like.
on it. Because this is my home, I pay the bills, the mortgage in my name. I'm just trying to figure out why when I pull in at 1 o'clock in the morning that there's a police officer at my house. Officer, what's your name and badge number, sir? Name and badge number, sir? Name and badge number, sir? Case. Badge number?
6596.
That's it? Alright, thank you, sir. Why were you dispatched out here tonight?
Wasn't dispatched.
Why was you called out here
As
tonight?
we come over.
One more time, what's your name and badge number?
Case wire.
And you're putting on your uniform and everything?
What?
Yeah, y'all just got them fucking.
You're disgusting.
My son's in here sleeping, and
Disgusting, bro.
Vanessa, I'm filing a lawsuit. You know I got the money, baby girl. My son's in here sleeping right now.
Damn.
And there's an officer that just got back. Hey, so what's the time, officer? Can you just tell me the time right now?
Dude, she asked me to come over, man.
Officer, can you see the time on your wrist and tell me what the time is right now?
At 9:10.
You are a servant.
Yeah.
I pay my taxes.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what the time is right now? And
Servant? He definitely serving something.
you're putting on your body cam that you took off to fuck my old lady.
I didn't have sex with her, man.
Is there a body cam that's been put on? Look how sweaty his face is. Has there been a body cam that's been put on since you've been here?
No, bro.
Vanessa, on my son.
You're crazy,
You're down, baby
bro.
girl.
You're crazy.
Hey, you can see your way out. Whoa, hey, one more time, officer. What was you dispatched here for?
I already told you, buddy.
You never told me. It's been on camera the whole time.
I already told you.
Punk ass bitch. Get on, nigga.
Well,
Because this is my home, I pay the bills, the mortgage in my name. I'm just trying to figure out why when I pull in at 1 o'clock in the morning that there's a police officer at my house.
WorldStar is nothing without its comments. No lawyer crow. It's not targeted advertising. I almost had sympathy for him until his goofy ass dropped the N-word. He was servicing civilians, that is true. She would have been following him out that door. The officer was serving the community one house at a time. He made sure his nightstick was working properly. The whole World Star Hip Hop comment section is just race war. I'm not talking about ratchet hood rats, so you wouldn't know nothing about that. Please, God, dear gods, reset these women, or send them to hell where they belong. That's your house, bitch. Pull out the strap, not your phone. Everyone wants to be an N, but nobody wants to be an N. Not a black person in sight, but the N word is dropped. Don't feel sorry for that sucker ass. He used the N-word and waited till he was out the door to talk shit. Jesus Christ. Why y'all demonic whites always deflecting when black people don't have a damn thing to do with y'all low-life behavior? She's for the streets. That's why you never make a hoe a housewife. Why he wait till the slop got out the door to talk Ishbo? Oh, he documented it for family court. Ah, I see. World Star Hip Hop never change. Never ever change, please. I wanted to buy World Star. The World Star owners are like, anytime you want to drop exclusive video, Shkreli, the entire World Star is open to you. Whatever you want. We'll turn the whole website to Shkreli for a day. I was like, well, in that case, I'll get my music video going. That's the thing. If I'm Jensen or Elon, I'm getting Lil Wayne, Eminem, Jay-Z, 10 million each. Let's cut this song. I'm getting a whole Hollywood movie producer to make the music video. You're just gonna make me look like the coolest guy ever. I'm just gonna be like, I am working. Then you're out 50 million bucks and you got nothing but a music video. A World Star to show for it. Dad, why don't I have any money? Well, when I was 42, I was having a midlife crisis and decided to make a World Star hip hop music video. Dad, what's a World Star hip hop music video? Well, I'd have Tucker Carlson as my hype man. Just making his confused look.
User update data was good. Really good. I like Serept a lot. Yeah, I still think SLS fails. I don't think the 3 years thing makes a difference. It's not because of the drug. I've seen that movie many, many times. It's never because of the drug. No, I've never heard of Bill Ackman shorting Herbalife. Fucking brand fucking new. Bozo. Hazard ratio is going to be 1.0. The drug don't work, dude. Your default expectation in biotech should be the drug doesn't work. That's the default. If you've learned anything from my channel, that's the default. It takes extraordinary evidence to suggest the drug works. In the absence of that, it's pretty safe to assume the shit don't work. That shit don't work. Who are you talking to? Yeah, RR looks like a scam too. Ackman's not a short seller. Short 2 stocks his whole life. Herbalife has revenue and earnings. Try not to short stocks with revenue and earnings. I only short frauds and scams. You think they're ever going to come out with this data holiday? It feels like they're never ever going to actually tell us. Waiting for years. Any day now. Yeah, the point is, when you're a short seller, you're pulling on threads and getting to the bottom of some shit that is some scam. It's
not really what he does. Rigetti did an ATM at $1. They thought it was a good idea to sell shares at $1. It's fucking $45, $46 now. What the fuck, bro? Yo, I'm dying. Yeah, maybe Holiday. We'll see. Good luck. I want you to win, bro. Yeah, I'm waiting for this fucking data to come out. It's never coming out. Unbelievable. I mean, their business hasn't changed. It's the same business. They haven't made any breakthroughs. You know, they're just sitting there and stock's 40 times higher. That's nice. Did we do something to earn 40 times higher stock price? They were basically going out of business. So maybe they were just priced like they were going out of business. But I don't know. Cappers is 0 too, don't worry. No, Holiday. No. That is a lesson everyone must learn. It is never because of the drug. It is always because the other arm is living longer than they thought. Well, QUBT is doing the smart thing. They're doing offering after offering after offering. They can't get enough of it. Placebo have been very strong these days. Placebo's been dropping companies left and right. if it's that consistent, Holiday. I don't know if it's that consistent. I've seen a couple of these in my time. Buffett wasn't exactly a corporate raider, no. I just get stressed out really easily. Yeah, I should get the ice water. It's too far away. The fridge is all the way over there. No, I try not to watch anything with Nick Fuentes in it. Yeah, Inflection's gone public. It's been this month for years. Yeah, of course I have some stress, but it doesn't change my conviction. Yeah, we might do a jobs thing on Godel. Stay tuned. Yeah, I know my LPA. Well, I've seen my LPA. I don't know it right now. Baby is so good. We just had a picture of him. Well, anyone can run a phase 3 trial. It's just a question of, is it a good use of money? You got the money, the doctors will do the trial. That's a picture of my baby. What do you think, Noodle? It's just like me. Got this crazy tattoos. Look at that. Look like his daddy. He look like your daddy. That's the baby right there. What do you mean? Bet you have the cutest baby. Yeah. Man, I already put 100 racks in his college account and went all full short quantum on it. So if something go wrong, he did it. It ain't me. Go after him. Put it on his social. Put it on his name. I don't know what, I didn't do the short. Who name on the account? Easy money stacks. You see that? You see that? My bad, kid. I like how inflation on the classes outstrips preferred return on the college fund. Hunter High. I don't know if he got Hunter high. We'll see. I don't know why I'm stressed. It's just been happening lately. No reason. Yeah, I'm not sleeping as much as I'd like. Hey, D-Wave's down. I don't play League, nah. Stuyvesant, Hunter, listen, if my son is smart enough to go to those fine schools, I'll be thrilled. That'd be a blessing. He's just gonna have to take from his mama's side more than his dad's side. Hopefully his mama, he looks like his daddy, but he's as smart as his mama, then we're good to go. My genes just get in the way. You have to play chess a little. My performance has been pretty good, Zombie, so it's not that bad. Pokemon could be a decent investment. I've been looking into it. Looking for some billionaire to buy all these Pokemon cards. Ain't no son of mine using Robinhood. Well, he's a boy, so he's always going to look more like me than her. Yeah, let's go. Spruce. I'll be right back. Just gotta use the bathroom. Don't go anywhere. Yeah. Try not to play games with the stock market, okay? Investing is supposed to be slow and boring. I don't see how the Unicure drug could help for prion disease, and that's a much smaller market than Huntington's, which is a massive market. No need to complicate what's not complicated. I'd like to win. Every day I'm hustling. Oh, thank you. Every day I'm hustling and hustling. Think you're joking with? I'm a boss. Yeah, we're gonna do an annual, but not. We're never gonna do a lifetime. I don't think. Hey, D-Wave dropping like a rock. I love it. I have to get out of here soon. I have to go to a meeting. It's somewhat far away. Let's see if I can do this. I don't see any news. Parkman Healthcare Partners. Hopefully, quantum stocks have been very tricky and finicky. It's very hard to predict. Finish my AWS upload. Excellent. Yahoo Finance next Friday? What's happening on Yahoo Finance next Friday? Sure. On TV? Whatever they do? Depends on with who, I guess. Yeah, the cure drug seems to be pretty good. That's why I tweeted about it when it came out. It's doubled since then. I don't know what to tell you. Thank you. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, no, there's some questions about the data. That's why I also think it might make sense to trim the position. It's not really a controlled trial either. There's no placebo. Now let me get a stimmy. I'm out of cure. It's kind of a lot. I'd like to take time to fully understand the data. It was a great snap judgment, but price is up a lot more now. Why is my voice so low? I don't know. My audio visual is generally pretty messed up. Sava goes up enough. What's the market cap? I'd rather not short it if it has less than 100 million market cap. Wasim, assalamu alaikum. Dear Stan, we should be together too. Yes, we should be together too. How much cash left on Sava? I was thinking of shorting Humasite. Yeah, they're not going to spend it. Yeah, I love Sarepta. Mars, bitches. M-A-R-S, Mars. You might want to go to PJ Clark's in New York. That's pretty good. Pretty good burger. Yeah, maybe if you can get to 7 or 8, that'd be a better short for cassava. Yeah. Great minds think alike. They pumping it dough. For what? Prove the drug doesn't work. Mactrab quietly selling like, oh. P.S. We should be together too. Midtown PJ Clark's. Another. There are 2 now? I need some analysts. Some people have applied. I'm going to check that out. Some guy who's a doctor. That's pretty cool. Doctors are not always the best analysts, but sometimes they're good. I'd hire a younger person if they were exceptional. Independent thinking is pretty important. Yeah, we're definitely going to spend probably the next month on Capricorn here, so stay tuned. little bit of a calm before the storm, but we're definitely gonna pretty much the Capricorn channel for a little while there. Capper watch soon, yeah. Turns out Capper was all cap. There's a lot of chatter about an AI bubble. I don't know if it's only started or popping or gonna get bigger, and then pop, or maybe it never pops. We've been in a software bubble for 60 years, still hasn't popped. I always like to make sure I'm right, so I research it until the cows come home. There's a reason you've never seen Scully miss on a biotech, right? Why do you think that is? I overdo it. I know Lays was up, but it's still a really small market cap. I like the short. I just got my hands full with the other quantum trash, but I should probably short it. Yeah, I'm glad to see Spruce up a little bit. Sprucey Spruce. know. I think profitable companies can stay private. They don't really need to go public. Sometimes it's good for your employees. Get a nice liquidity. Yeah, we'd probably do Capper and AVXL at the same time. People do Halloween in New York, yes. Forbes. Forbes or Fortune? I think it was Fortune. I'm not sure Bob Duggan's going to make Pulse any more successful. All right, guys, I got to run to this meeting. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Try Godel, godelterminal.com.